So for this video, we're going to be attacking the engine of the Beetle that I've been working on. The main issues that it has is I need to buy a new exhaust manifold for it because the previous owners cut, welded, and did some weird shit to it. Also, they crunched one of the push rod sleeves. They crunched that and tried to bend it out a little so it has an opening, which I'm pretty sure is probably not what you want. And then while I'm working on it, I'll probably learn about doing the valves or at least adjusting them. The goal is to do minimum amount of work, but get it where I feel like, okay, it'll be running, it'll be fine for a while. I did have the engine running before I removed it from the car, but now it's been sitting for a little bit. So here's to hoping I didn't screw anything up. Hooray! Okay, so here's the engine as it sits. Currently have it on a furniture dolly. It's what I had. It has definitely seen better days, but you know, we're hoping that it's still got some life in it. What I had to do to the engine originally to get it to run was rebuild the carburetor. So yeah, I mean, I rebuilt it, seemed to get it running well, seemed to be idling high, but we'll worry about that once we get it back in the car. What I'm trying to do is fix all the little quirks with it and then put it back onto the transmission and verify that the transmission actually works. Because I replaced the boots on it and replaced some shifter bushings and things like that. But the car has never driven, and nor should it have. And right about now, if I can find a picture, I'll insert it about here. And more or less you can see why I've got to get new headers for it, or exhaust manifold, whatever people want to call it. So yeah, it also needed a new fuel pump. So my first step is going to be removing the clutch. I need to see how much meat is left on it, but I still got to remove the clutch and the flywheel before I can put it on the new engine stand I got. I didn't want to buy a new engine stand, but due to working on my youngest son's car, my engine stand is currently pre-occupado. So yeah, but they're cheap. If you have a coupon, they're like 40 bucks or less at Harbor Freight. So yeah, so the next part of this video, I will be removing the clutch, the flywheel. Once I remove the clutch, it'll determine if I need to buy a new one. And then, yeah, you'll get a better look of it at that point. So, first thing we gotta do, take off the flywheel. It uses what appears to be 13 millimeter socket. So here's the hoping this thing works for it. Well, I'll be right back. Apparently I do not have a socket that works for this. So yeah, time to go buy one. So I didn't record this part. I ended up going to AutoZone, and that little red briefcase looking thing, I rented some sockets. I used a 36 millimeter socket to remove the single bolt that holds the flywheel on. I also went to my local VW place and got a new rear main seal, because if you look, you can see it's been leaking, and my guess is that's a bulk of its leakage, so we're going to replace that. But what we're about to do is go through, start removing pieces on the top, because I need to get, if I recall correctly, this head off to remove the push rod sleeve. So anyway, yeah, here we go. Okay, slight changes of plans or whatever. What I'm going to do in this little segment that will mostly be fast forwarded is replace this rear main seal with this one. Costs like $5. Whoop-dee. Hoping I'm in the video. Then we're going to clean all that up, rotate the engine, and then start dismantling the top half, because to get that head off, I'm going to have to replace remove the intake manifold and a bunch of other crap. So let's get going. Well, that was a much bigger pain in the ass than I expected. So, to get that out of the way, I had to take the generator off. And I'm guessing you have to kind of finagle the belt on to get it on and off. But yeah, all that just so I could do something like this. Yay. Frickin' lame. But anyway, yeah, so just quick overview. Distributor cap that definitely needs to be replaced. I'm guessing the wires do too, so I was planning on doing that. There's the cylinder walls, which also do all the air cooling. There's the oil cooler. I don't see too much leakage, so that's promising. Yeah, so I'll continue tearing down this side. Hooray! So, here's what I found. So, that is a push rod. That looks nice and healthy, doesn't it? That's the sleeve. That, yeah, it's just beat to shit. They crunched it while the engine was together. Originally, I thought they had, like, maybe crushed this and then just tried to bend it back out. That's what I was thinking. I didn't realize that they'd crunched it on the engine. So, with that, this valve here with the rocker on, it had a lot of play. So I'm not even sure when I had it running if that cylinder was fully working. This car's had some moisture issues, so that's stellar. Now whether I'm going to do anything about it, because it did run beforehand, so I'm not thinking I'm going to rebuild this head. But let's see what underneath looks like. Trying to find a good way to do this. So, actually, oh yeah, so some other things before I forget. All but like this one and this bolt had any torque whatsoever on them. And like this bolt and that bolt, actually no, this one did not. But all of them, I maybe 10 pounds of pressure on it. Like, I didn't really have to work to undo those bolts. So whoever the fuck did this before should be beat, because this was just horrible. I mean, pretty sure these are supposed to be a little tighter in, but we'll see. So yeah, that's where it's at. So in the next part of this video, I'm going to replace this. While I'm at it, I might replace all of them. I'm not sure. But I've got to get a new push rod now too. So, yeah, in the next part of this video, I'll put the new push rod in, the new sleeve, and reassemble everything. I'll probably take the valve cover off the other side just to make sure nothing looks horrible. But yeah, all that work just to get to this damn thing. Anyway, on to reassembly after I go get parts. So, this side looks freaking fantabulous. So, as you saw in the video, 2 of the valves had a little bit of play, or 2 of the rockers had a little bit of play. So I just adjusted them a little and hoping I don't screw anything up. So now to put the whole thing back together. And skip ahead, everything is put back together. The top part, whatever it's called, this thing, was kind of a pain in the ass to get aligned. I also trimmed up this fuel line that I have here because I felt it was just too long. I believe I can put the belt back on once I put the engine back in and get it started. Can just put the belt here, hang it there, fire it up, and it should catch back on. Yeah, not much else. I mean, everything seems hunky-dory. I have the flywheel bolted up, so yeah, that's the end of that. So, with that, the engine-related, well, the first half of the engine-related crap is done. In the next video, I'm going to have the clutch already put on, mount the engine back onto the transaxle, and I'm going to run the engine off of a battery. So just wire it up all individually, make sure the engine runs, see if I can actually get into gear and get to nudge a little, because I have no idea if the transmission works. So yeah, got to figure that shit out before throwing the body on it and making it difficult to actually work on it. So anyway, if you enjoyed it, good. Other than that, have fun. Bye-bye.